If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sunny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out.
As you may heard, I filed a few lawsuits, and I'm in the court now because they accuse me of doing stuff that I never did in my life, and they wrote lies, and I will not allow that. I will fight till the end because I don't want that they damage my reputation and my name.
I think she hates him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, so we can all
That's a
agree on
given.
that. I also think that she wants to take him out. She does not want to be the first lady anymore.
One moment, Princess Lilibet Diana Mountbatten-Windsor, 8th in line to the British throne, was smiling from her glossy biography on the royal family's official website. The next, her page dissolved into a 404 void without so much as a site maintenance disclaimer. That silent keystroke landed like a digital guillotine. To the casual browser, it looked like harmless housekeeping, but to anyone who follows palace politics, it read as a velvet-gloved backhand. In Windsor world, visibility equals legitimacy, and erasing a profile is the modern equivalent of banishing a portrait from the palace walls. Why would the crown risk the optics of making a toddler disappear? Because in the centuries-old chess match between monarchy and reputation, a blank space can speak louder than 1,000 press releases. And this particular blank space may hold the power to fracture the line of succession itself. The deletion arrived quietly on a Tuesday, tucked between a boilerplate community garden engagement and a feel-good photograph of Princess Anne inspecting cavalry horses. There was no social post, no palace tweet, not even the customary update banner. Royal watching forums lit up within minutes. Every other youngster, George with his cheeky grin, Charlotte with her school piano recital, Louis brandishing his birthday bike, kept pride of place. But Lily's page simply vanished. Refresh, error, gone. Inside an institution that swears by precedent, the precision felt surgical. She alone was ghosted, leaving only a stripped-down name on the line of succession diagram, a placeholder as cold as marble. In that click, courtiers telegraphed a message as old as the crown: earn your place or fade. For seasoned Windsor watchers, this was not an isolated hiccup. Scroll back 2 years to a quieter purge. Harry and Meghan's smiling photos nudged gradually down the homepage, first below the Waleses, then the Wessexes, finally marooned in a non-working royals cul-de-sac that required 4 taps to find. In 2022, a subtle revision stripped HRH from their internal profiles, replaced by the flatter The Duke and the Duchess. When Charles announced his vision of a streamlined monarchy, aides whispered the new mantra: spotlight the grafters, ghost the refuseniks. Every tweak arrived with a shrug, mobile optimization, fresh branding. But patterns don't lie. By spring last year, Archie and Lily were mysteriously absent from royal event photo carousels, even when cousins born the same month were center frame. The palace never explained, and the Sussexes never protested. Then came the nuclear click and the profile's annihilation, punctuating months of passive-aggressive edits with one chilling full stop. Why target the Sussex kids specifically? Enter the oldest riddle in today's royal soap opera: the births. Back in 2019, Meghan's baby bump became a meme magnet, with slowed-down clips of the Duchess dancing in a loose summer dress, supposedly revealing a wobble too buoyant for a late-term baby. Palace supporters rolled their eyes until the paperwork question emerged. Archie's UK registration lacked an attending doctor's signature, highly unusual for a royal birth. Lilibet's California certificate carried a Colorado area code and omitted key maternal details. Succession law might be dusty, but it's brutal. Heirs must be of the body. No room for clerical mystery. Rumors suggest palace lawyers quietly requested clarifications that never arrived, and speculators seized on the vacuum. Was a surrogate involved? Did the couple misfile documents? No hard proof has surfaced, but the Crown's refusal to publish definitive records has only stoked the fire. Inside Montecito, the deletion landed like a mortar round. Sources close to Meghan describe phones buzzing, Zoom rooms filling, and legal pads slashed with red ink timelines. The Duchess, famous for a California Zen facade, was reportedly pacing like a panther. Her argument is stark. By erasing her daughter's profile, the palace has implied illegitimacy without daring to speak it. A reputational assault on a toddler. Advisors are said to be weighing defamation by omission claims on both sides of the Atlantic, exploring whether a UK High Court or a California Superior Judge might take jurisdiction over a royal family that straddles two continents. Friends say Meghan's mantra in closed meetings is simple: visibility is non-negotiable, and silence equals complicity. Across the Atlantic, palace calculators tick. Courtiers steeped in centuries of protocol see a different play. Quiet leverage, produce conclusive birth paperwork, they privately say, and the profile returns. Fail to do so, and the monarchy politely withdraws its imprimatur. Three motives dominate the gossip inside gilded corridors. First, the proof motive. Without ironclad documentation, the crown risks a constitutional crisis. Transparency is self-defense. Second, brand protection. London tabloids will feast on fake heirs' headlines unless the firm draws a sharp line. Third, silent pressure. An open brawl feeds Meghan's narrative of victimhood, but a dignified omission starves it of oxygen. King Charles, we're told, paces his own tightrope. Paternal guilt pulling one way, dynastic permanence pulling harder. His advisors couch the deletion as prudent housekeeping, yet the timing, months after the Netflix docudrama but days before Lily's birthday, feels too polished to be random. On the Sussex side, the man in the crossfire is Prince Harry. Friends say the prince oscillates between anger and exhaustion, stuck in a loop of fruitless phone calls to former palace aides who default to no comment. Publicly, he's silent. No spare-style scorched-earth chapters, no late-night monologues, not even a pointed Instagram story with a cryptic song lyric. Privately, sources hear him railing that his children are pawns in a decades-old institution that still calls itself family. Yet every angry impulse slams into a stone wall of royal conditioning. Damage the crown too much, and you torch any path back to reconciliation, not just for you, but for your kids. Harry sits, torn between a California living room and a 1,000-year-old throne, knowing that choosing one could cost him the other. Meanwhile, the internet refuses to wait for official statements. Within hours of the deletion, number Lilibetgate trended on X. TikTok exploded with side-by-side screen recordings. Look, her page was there yesterday. And Reddit's Our Royal Gossip thread added 20,000 new members overnight. American morning shows ran breathless segments titled, "Is the Palace Erasing a Princess?" British broadsheets, usually ravenous for Sussex drama, published tepid paragraphs ninth on the page, a hush many insiders attribute to calls from Palace Comm staff urging editorial restraint until facts are clearer. The result is a lopsided narrative battlefield. Mainstream UK outlets whisper, overseas pundits roar, and conspiracy blossoms in the space between. PR strategists sketch three likely endgames on their whiteboards. Scenario A: Meghan drops the receipts, scanned birth files, notarized hospital slips, maybe even HIPAA-redacted testimony from medical staff, forcing Buckingham Palace into a public climb down and a hasty page restoration. Scenario B: the firm produces its own notarized documents proving a conventional delivery, killing the rumors, but also confirming they felt threatened enough to break their code of silence. Scenario C: both sides dig in, Lily's profile stays dark, and public trust erodes one rumor at a time, leaving future historians to footnote her as the child the crown tried to forget. None of these paths offer a graceful exit. Each demands someone blink first, and right now, both sides believe the other is bluffing. All the while, the palace unleashes its favorite distraction tactic: royal wallpaper. Out trot ribbon cuttings, smiling veterans, primary school book drives, and surprise wheelchair ramp unveilings, all carefully photographed, brightly captioned, and algorithm-friendly. Last week, Princess Anne suddenly fronted a military parade she normally wouldn't headline. Camilla visited a children's hospice whose PR team confessed they'd had zero advance notice. Even Prince William, recently elusive amid his own family's health saga, appeared for a photo op carrying Charlotte's school backpack. Courtiers know headline oxygen is finite. Flood the zone with feel-good stories and the deletion drama suffocates. Except this time, the algorithm doesn't forget so easily. Each distraction tweet spawns a comment avalanche. Where's Lily's page? Stop the smokescreen. What are you hiding? Complicating matters further are whispers that Meghan holds something explosive, hard evidence that senior aides knew of and tacitly approved her alternative reproductive plans. One rumor points to an internal email chain acknowledging medical complications and a surrogate arrangement, coupled with a suggestion that the matter remain private to preserve dignity. If such correspondence exists and surfaces, the monarchy wouldn't just face embarrassment, it could confront a legitimacy scandal on par with the abdication crisis, because UK succession law never envisioned Californian surrogacy contracts. The legal scholars sharpening their pencils on late-night podcasts call it unmapped constitutional territory, the place where modern fertility meets medieval inheritance. King Charles, whose coronation ceremony trumpeted unity and slimmed down modernity, now finds himself staring at the mother of all succession headaches. Does he demand paperwork at the risk of looking like a grandfather who doubts his own bloodline? Does he restore the profile and appear capitulating to California threats? Or does he cling to silence, trusting that public attention will drift long before lawyers find a courtroom willing to drag a 95-year-old constitution into the fertility clinic era? Advisors are split. Traditionalists warn that cracking the door invites a hurricane of precedents, while modernizers argue that transparency now prevents meltdown later. For the monarch, time itself is a strategy. Every day without a fresh revelation is a day the public moves on to football scores or celebrity breakups. Meghan appears to be playing an opposite clock. Close friends say she believes the palace's move is personal, that it targets her credibility as a mother, and that waiting too long invites brand damage she can't afford. Her silence, say insiders, is not resignation, but load up. She's reportedly combing through every email, text, and signed form from her obstetric team, screenshotting anything that proves the palace was updated in real time. One leak claims she's even talking to a globally renowned DNA testing company about a televised confirmation, should it come to that. Imagine the optics. A duchess in a white studio, cotton swab in hand, offering the world genetic proof in prime time. The palace communications office shudders at the mental image. The tabloids salivate. Caught between these converging strategies is the public, watching an institution that once operated in stately whispers now wage war in code snippets and cached pages. It raises a larger question than any single profile. If the monarchy can edit its story with a stroke, how solid is the narrative underpinning its very right to reign? Once upon a time, portraits could be relocated to attic hallways and secrets buried in Windsor archives. Today, screenshots live forever, and curious minds sleuth faster than any comms team can scrub. The tension is existential. A crown built on lineage must safeguard every link in its chain, yet a digital age tests that chain under harsh neon. As of tonight, Lilibet's profile remains missing in action, a small blank space throwing a giant shadow. The palace repeats its icy mantra, no comment, no change, hoping that silence still wields the old magic. The Sussex camp maintains radio quiet, a hush loaded with the promise of incoming receipts. Royal reporters refresh Cloudflare caches. Reddit detectives archive every site tweak. Constitutional lawyers draft think pieces on succession and surrogacy. Each side thinks it holds the upper hand, yet each passing hour raises the stakes, because the longer a question lingers, the nastier its answer tends to land. Maybe the palace will quietly restore the page after a weekend lull, blaming a technical glitch and praying collective memory scrolls on. Maybe Meghan will detonate her evidence, forcing a public reckoning that rewrites the line of succession in real time. Maybe Harry, torn between Windsor loyalty and California love, will broker a back-channel peace that never sees daylight. Or maybe, most dangerously, nothing will happen at all. Nothing except growing suspicion that a 1,000-year-old institution cannot bear 21st century transparency. Because when a monarchy edits its story without explanation, it teaches its subjects to distrust the next chapter. And in that widening gap between palace silence and public curiosity, every rumor flowers, every inch of blank webpage becomes a mile of conspiracy, and every quiet deletion becomes a deafening shout. What are they hiding? In the end, the fight over a toddler's biography is less about one little girl and more about who owns history in the click-trigger age. If a princess can vanish with no ceremony, so can any uncomfortable truth. But secrets, like profiles, rarely stay deleted, and the day one side finally hits publish might change the crown forever. Until then, the cursor blinks on an empty page, waiting to see which royal hand moves first.